I have an opportunity to utilize these airways, I promise you, I'm going to use this platform to amplify your voice because I care about the city of Milwaukee, and I know y'all care about me as well. So I just want to give y'all a little bit of a background on me and who I was and what matters the most to me. So with that being said, it's going to be a fun journey, fun ride, and we got to get to it as always on this show, Truth to Power with Kyle Wallace. And you know what, Zach, Brother Z? Go ahead and hit it. Let him hit him with the right recap.
Y'all know what time it is. It's time for Off the Top on Truth to Power. Kyle, let Truth Nation know what you got to get off your chest today.
So today, we're going to do a little recap of all the things that you may or may not heard from the following weekend, from this past weekend, and we got to get it started. We got to get it started with the number one story from the weekend. That number one story from the weekend, y'all, I'm telling y'all, 833-212-1017, tap in. It's TikTok. Yes, TikTok is banned. TikTok is gone. TikTok is no longer here. They done got rid of the tickety-tock, or it might be back. I don't know. Ding dong, TikTok is gone. I have no idea, but that was the big news over the weekend. Everybody and their mama, everybody and their cousin, everybody and their auntie, all these young teens were crying and complaining about the fact that they no longer had their TikTok to utilize, and so that was something that was on everybody's mind as we talked about how Saturday, TikTok disappeared. It was gone. People went to the app. People were upset because they no longer had TikTok to go to. And then magically, on Sunday, they woke up and TikTok was back. See, now, I, for one, I'm very, very anti-TikTok. And I'm going to tell y'all exactly why I'm anti-TikTok and why I'm not mad that TikTok was gone. Because with the TikTok ban, y'all got to understand what TikTok is, man. Like, TikTok basically is China's way to track y'all. China has information on all of us, right? Like, China is able to track the American people through this app. It's a genius idea. And what's crazy about it is TikTok was banned via a law. That was a law that, well, actually, you saw both sides come together to ban a law. And then the Supreme Court, yes, the United States Supreme Court voted unanimously 9-0 to uphold the ban on TikTok. So I'm like, okay, TikTok for sure gonna be gone. Well, TikTok is absolutely back. And I just want y'all to understand that the reason why I'm anti-TikTok, and y'all should consider being anti-TikTok as well, is because TikTok takes all your information and also they get you hooked on false and fake information. Now, the one thing about this TikTok ban is y'all may think y'all hear stuff in the news, and I know Donald Trump is getting credit for, getting TikTok back, but y'all do realize Donald Trump in 2020 tried to get rid of TikTok. He bragged about getting rid of TikTok. He was trying to get rid of TikTok, but you know what changed? TikTok helped him win an election. If you help Donald Trump with anything, he gonna help you with something. So Donald Trump said he's going to restore TikTok fully for the next 90 days. We'll absolutely see how that goes, but I'm telling y'all this right now. TikTok is bad because China utilizes it as a way to spy on the American people. Like, literally, they have access to spy on y'all. They have mind control as well on y'all. They take advantage of our short attention span, so we can only watch like 30-second videos, and they take advantage of that. And so I'm telling y'all, TikTok is extremely dangerous with spreading false information as well. But think about it. TikTok is here in America. Here in America, we use things like Facebook. We use things like Instagram. We use things like Twitter, YouTube. All those great things that you as, Americans have grown accustomed to utilizing. But guess what? If you go to China, if you go to Beijing, Hong Kong, Shanghai, if you go to all these different places, guess what? You can't use no Facebook. You can't use Instagram. They ain't gonna let y'all get on YouTube. For sure ain't gonna let you get on Twitter, X. It's banned in China. Why do you think it's banned in China? It's banned in China because China protects their people and they protect their own things that matter to them. They be danged if they gonna let the United States spy on their people and get some type of advantage. Y'all gotta understand, TikTok ain't about all the little dances the kids be doing. TikTok is about taking control over America. That's exactly what China trying to do with TikTok. So y'all can fall for it, but not me. And by the way, I also want y'all to know, TikTok is banned in countries like India. So this ain't nothing that's new. So I'm just going to tell y'all this right now. When it comes to the ticky of the talk, it's time to get rid of TikTok here in America. So that's one thing that me and Donald Trump initially agreed on, is getting rid of TikTok. Now, the next story I want to talk about from this weekend recap of things that everybody should know about. It's cold right now, y'all. It is extremely cold outside. We talking about dangerously cold weathers between -5 and -30 in the morning. We need to make sure that we are protecting our families during this bitter cold and also this cold weather advisory that's going on right now. So with this cold weather advisory, I just want y'all to know and understand that temperatures are going to drop to between -25 and -30. So if you got babies at home, you got kids that go back to school tomorrow, do understand that they ain't going back to school tomorrow. MPS closing down school tomorrow. All the other districts are closing down school tomorrow. Ain't no school tomorrow because it's going to be too cold. So get prepared to have those kids and babies at home. Do some homeschool learning or whatever you got to do. But also, for you landlords out there, hack them. The housing authority of the city of Milwaukee do know. Make sure y'all, had a heat running for these tenants, because tenants gonna be calling y'all because the heat getting shut off. So I need to make sure y'all make sure the heat is still on. But in addition to that, I got a life hack for you. So my life hack is, when it's cold like this outside, I was sick of having my heat on and running up my heating bill. And what I did was I purchased a heated mattress pad. I'm telling y'all, that was the greatest thing I could ever do. You can turn your heat off. I mean, -25, you got to keep it on for the pipes. But when it's like 30 degrees outside, 20 degrees outside, I know how we get down, black folks. I know my mom and dad always had their heat on like 74, 75. I understand that. But we got to pay your own bills. You like, wait a minute, I got to turn that down. The life hack is getting a heated mattress pad. Who gives anything about how cold your house is in other rooms if your family got a heated mattress pad? You warm during the night. I find myself turning a heated mattress pad off because I get too hot. I was literally too hot last night. So life hack, if you don't learn anything from Truth to Power with me, Kyle Wallace, you're going to learn this. Get yourself a heated mattress pad. Don't pay that high heat bill. Don't. Shout out to We Energies, but don't let We Energies take all your money. Get you a heated mattress pad for $80 to $100, and you'll be thanking me later. So that is my story number 2. It's the fact that it is going to be cold outside. Make sure y'all take care of y'all kids. You bundle up. Make sure you make safe decisions, because we are going through a cold spell, a cold weather advisory lasts until Wednesday. Yes, there's a cold weather advisory until Wednesday here in Milwaukee County. So make sure y'all bundle it up, staying warm. Make sure you look for homeless individuals out there. If you know somebody that's homeless, there's homeless shelters around the city of Milwaukee for a warming place so they can stay warm as well. But make sure y'all take care of yourselves, and remember that life hack that I gave. And the last story that I have for my weekend recap, it happened last Thursday. It's a little bit of old news, but as I drove around the city, I saw how important this individual was. The legendary broadcaster from the Milwaukee Brewers, Bob Uecker, passed away last Thursday. Tragic. Everybody was sad and upset. I was upset as well. But what I loved about the celebration of his legacy that you may have seen as well, Potawatomi Casino and Hotel had a Milwaukee Brewers emblem and icon at the top of their building to honor the great legacy of the broadcaster and former athlete, former Milwaukee Brewer, Bob Uecker. And in addition to that, at the Milwaukee Bucks game, they did something that was real cool. Zach, did you work the game on Friday?
No, I was there last night.
Yeah, so Friday they did something that was cool. They had Bob Uecker, basically an old Bob Uecker video of him singing "Take Me Out to the Ball Game." The whole basketball crowd did it, and it was a great way to honor Bob Uecker. But my top number 3 story of the weekend is remembering the legacy of Bob Uecker. Though I didn't know Bob Uecker personally, it seemed like Bob Uecker was a part of many of our lives. And the story I love to tell is growing up as a kid, because the generations before us, baseball used to be a thing they played, right? Or as in the sense of my grandfather, stickball. So my grandfather had a great affinity for baseball, and I always remember growing up, and he had his chair that all these old folks always have, that specific chair that they sit in and to relax in after a long days of work. And I remember my grandpa had that black stereo that he listened to Milwaukee Brewers baseball on. So he had the chair next to the stereo. And I just always remember him listening to Bob Uecker. And so anytime I heard Bob Uecker's voice growing up after my grandfather passed, it always was a remembering moment of that time that me and my grandfather had together. So shout out to Bob Uecker. But that has been your weekend recap right here on Truth to Power with Kyle Wallace. When we come back on the other side, there's a conversation that needs to be said and a conversation that we need to have talking about the legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King. I love MLK Day. I love the celebration of MLK Day. But I'm going to tell y'all this right now. The legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King has been absolutely diminished, and it has been weaponized against you. Yep, they are weaponizing the legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King. And I'm going to tell y'all a story about this young lady who lived in downtown Milwaukee and how she was upset about the riots and how she invoked the name of Dr. Martin Luther King to shame the people. Y'all got to hear this story and so much more on the other side. This is Truth to Power with Kyle Wallace on the award-winning 1017 The Truth.
It is Truth to Power on 1017 The Truth app, and streaming live on 1017 The Truth on YouTube.
Truth Nation, it's your girl, DT, and I am back. Join Dr. Ken Harris and I every Monday night for our weekly show, The Truth Unfiltered. We're going to break down the top news stories of the week with no filters and no apologies. We're going to tell you just exactly how it TI is, which is the only way that Dr. Ken and I know how to roll. So be sure to tune in to The Truth Unfiltered with DT and Dr. Ken every Monday night from 6 to 8 p.m. on the award-winning 1017 The Truth.
It's 1017 The Truth's Dr. Ken Harris for Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. Happy New Year means a lot of rough days ahead for those who suffer from seasonal affective disorder. Plenty of gray, frigid days on the horizon where we all just want to be snugly and warm at home. That's where Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin comes in. Their inviting doors welcome friends and family into a cozy home thanks to Pella's gorgeous, energy-efficient windows, keeping the cold out. Pella can make your home as beautiful on the outside as it is comfortable on the inside. Celebrate the new year with 0% interest for up to 3 years at Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. Visit Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin showroom today so you can learn the Pella difference and get inspired on making your home more energy efficient and beautiful with Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. Hurry, you only have until January 31st to score Pella's New Year's special. 0% interest for up to 3 years. Certain restrictions apply. Visit PellaWI.com.
Associated Bank knows your small business isn't just a venture. It's your dream and a vital part of the community. And we're not just a bank. We're your neighbors. We're looking out for you. That's why Associated Bank offers quick online applications and approvals with funding in as fast as 1 business day, checking with no minimum balances or maintenance fees, and prompt customer service. Explore our products at associatedbank.com/business or visit a branch for more details. Subject to credit approval. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Join the Bucks and tip off Black History Month with the team's Black Excellence Game, presented by Hennessy on Sunday, February 2nd. Celebrate the next generation of Black leaders through storytelling, performances, and more. Enjoy incredible on-court action when the team faces off against Memphis while we shine a spotlight on Black excellence in our community. Visit bucks.com/impact for details and to secure your tickets. That's bucks.com/impact.
When you've been seriously injured, you'll need a team with knowledge and experience to get the results you deserve. Call Gruber Law Offices today. Proud partner of your Milwaukee Bucks. One call, that's all.
When you're high, you feel different. Pretty obvious, right? You think different, talk different, but if you feel different, you drive different. So if you're high, just don't drive. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
You are listening to Truth to Power with Kyle Wallace on 1017 The Truth and the Truth app. Catch Truth to Power every weekday from noon to 1 p.m.
I'm living in that 21st century, doing something mean to it. Do it better than anybody you ever seen. Do it. Screams from the haters, got a nice ring to it. I guess every superhero need his theme music. No one man should have all that power. The clock's ticking, I just count the hours. Stop tripping, I'm tripping off the power.
is Truth to Power on the award-winning 1017 The Truth. I am Kyle Wallace, your host who takes you on the journey of the next 60 minutes. I guess now about 40-some minutes here we have left on the clock here on Truth to Power on the award-winning 1017 The Truth. Make sure you tap in by streaming and watching us live on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe on YouTube at 1017 The Truth at YouTube. Yes, 1017 The Truth on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe, hit that subscribe button, and you listen and watch us live. Now, I'm gonna need to take my jacket off for this one, Zach, because I teased it a little bit, and I was at the MLK Day celebration breakfast for the YMCA at Potawatomi. And make sure if you are listening right now, make sure you make the way down to the Marcus Performing Arts Center at 3:00, because at 3:00 doors open for the MLK Day birthday celebration, where you get to hear amazing speeches from young students, and also Tori Lowe. And also, Dr. Ken Harris will be broadcasting live from the Marcus Performing Arts Center from 1 until 6. But also during that time, you can go from 3 until 6, enjoy the great speeches of some MPS students, enjoy the great speeches of the future of Milwaukee. Now, let me just tell y'all something now. So, again, I said I love MLK Day. And what y'all learn is when I say I love something, I truly do love something, but I got an issue with it. And so I love the legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King, but I'm getting a little irritated about some of the things that I am seeing with the legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King. See, now we've been celebrating this for over 30 years, 40 years almost. Oh, it might be 40 exactly. Well, we have been celebrating the legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King. And one thing that I'm noticing when we celebrate this legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King, it has made more people aware of what he has done, which I have seen recently has led to the weaponization of his legacy against black people. Now, let me just keep going here. I know y'all thinking, all right, Kyle, calm down. Calm down. 833-212-1017. That's the Truth Talking text line. But I'm telling y'all, Truth Nation, the legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King, Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King, is being diminished and whitewashed and being used as a weapon against us towards those who speak up and speak out about injustices. See, we no longer control the messaging about Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. His legacy has become a tool of oppression against us. Now, y'all may be thinking, this ain't the day to have this conversation, but dang it, when else would I have this day to have this conversation? Now, this dawned upon me a couple years ago. And remember, I'm a kid from Milwaukee. I went to the suburbs for school, but I grew up in Milwaukee. I was a Chapter 220 kid. Chapter 220 is where kids from the inner city of Milwaukee got bussed out to the suburbs for school. And then it was supposed to be reversed, where kids from the suburbs got bussed out into Milwaukee as a way to diversify these schools. But obviously, the people in the suburbs were not busing their kids to MPS, and it stopped the program. About probably is phasing out. As of now, it might be completely phased out. But I have friends from different backgrounds, or acquaintances, I should say, from many different backgrounds. Now, in 2020, we know in May of 2020, George Floyd was murdered in Minneapolis by a police officer named Derek Chauvin. He was murdered, and it led to protest across this country. Now, during the protest across this country, it was here in Milwaukee, in downtown Milwaukee, where people marched up and down Water Street. They chanted. They spoke up. They brought awareness to the injustices that we as a community and we as a country have. And I never forget this young lady who I didn't go to school with her, but I met her through different acquaintances. I never forget, she posted on her social media saying, this is annoying. She took a video and said, this is annoying. They're making all this noise. They're blocking all this traffic. She was mad and upset. And I said, how are you mad and upset about this and posting about your traffic, but I ain't seen you post anything about the murder of George Floyd? How are you more mad and upset about this, that you go to your social media, that you put it for everybody to see, but you were silent during the murder of George Floyd? And she said to me, you know, I care about George Floyd, but I don't like that they're blocking traffic. What would Dr. Martin Luther King think about this today? And I said, what? I know this suburban woman who don't look like me did not just invoke the legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King to try to suppress people's fight for justice. I'm telling y'all, Dr. Reverend Martin Luther King Jr.'s legacy has been used as a weapon against us. Now, y'all may think, Kyle, that's just your experience, right? Yeah, I haven't had somebody tell me that. That's not mainstream. Well, I'm going to play some audio from the former governor of Arkansas. His name is Mike Huckabee. Mike Huckabee went on TV back in 2020 during the protest, and he also made some type of comment about what he was seeing and how he felt about Black Lives Matter.
You know, I've dealt with race issues my whole life, and quite frankly, I think it's more of a sin problem than a skin problem. There are injustices in our culture. I fought them as a governor. I understand how people have great passions, but I also understand that the way you begin to resolve them is you do it by loving people and treating people with dignity and respect, and you don't do it by magnifying the problems. You do it by really magnifying the solutions. And when I hear people, scream Black Lives Matter, I'm thinking, of course they do. But all lives matter. It's not that any life matters more than another. That's the whole message I think that Dr. King tried to present. And I think you'd be appalled by the notion that we're elevating some lives above others.
Appalled about the fact of black people saying our lives matter. The man that lost his life for trying to uplift our community will be appalled by people saying Black Lives Matter. Do we understand the hypocrisy and the nonsense of this? And this is what I'm saying, y'all. That right there, by trying to justify his disdain for the saying and the phrase of simply the emphasis of Black Lives Matters, he invoked Dr. Martin Luther King as a weapon against us. This is why I am saying I love Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., but I hate what his legacy has become. I love that he fought for us, but I hate that they have now turned him into an oppressor. They use his words as oppression against us. This is so shameful and so disappointing, and this is why we need to have a real conversation. 833-212-1017. That is the talk to text line. Do you all agree? Do you believe the legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King has been diminished? 833-212-1017. I wholeheartedly believe that the legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King has absolutely been diminished based off some of the things that we see and the things that we hear. You just heard from a former governor of Arkansas who told us that Black Lives Matter, saying Black Lives Matter is shameful, and that Dr. Martin Luther King would be appalled by us basically emphasizing our own future, our own safety, our own dignity. 833-212-1017. That is the Truth Talk and Text line. I'm telling y'all this right now. What blows my mind about all this conversation is that, unfortunately, through history, we have erased all the other work Dr. Martin Luther King did. People love to talk about the fact that Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., he was all about equality. He was this, he was that, he was great. But they never mention, despite how much you may love him or you appreciate him, they still murdered him. They still killed him. So when you talk about his legacy, you try to, use it against black people, do understand even the best of us who protest silently still find a way to irritate you to the point where you murder him. Nobody talks about that. They only utilize his legacy to keep us down. And that's why I believe that the weaponization of Dr. MLK Day has led to us basically losing the legacy of Dr. MLK. 833-212-1017. That is the Truth Talking text line. We'll continue this conversation and so much more on the other side because I think I have a solution, right? Like, I can bring problems. That's the one thing that I'm going to learn from Truth to Power with Kyle Wallace is I'm going to bring y'all the problem that I see. But I'm also going to have the answer. And I'm going to tell y'all, right now, the legacy for MLK is diminished. It's been hijacked. We don't own the day anymore. I'm telling y'all, we don't own. It's been hijacked. All right, now I'm telling you, other people using it to try to put us down. But I'm going to tell y'all on the other side how we can save MLK Day and bring it back to be our own. 833-212-1017. That is the Truth Talk and text line. Also, watch and stream us live on YouTube. Yes, watch us live on YouTube. We're live from 7 a.m. all the way until 6 p.m. every single day on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe so you never miss any of your favorite shows. 833-212-1017. And also, today ain't the only day people are celebrating around this country. There's also a Confederate Day as well we're going to talk about. But keep it locked. You are listening to Truth to Power with Kyle Wallace on the award-winning 1017 The Truth.
Truth to Power with Kyle Wallace returns after this on 1017 The Truth app, and streaming live on 1017 The Truth on YouTube.
American Family Insurance is a lot like Captain America. He protects the world.
It's just doing my job.
And we help protect your dreams with amazing auto and home coverage. American Family Insurance. Get a quote and find an agent at amfam.com. And see Marvel Studios' Captain America: Brave New World.
Suit up. We need to move.
In theaters February 14th. This film is not yet rated.
Products not available in every state. American Family Mutual Insurance Company, SI, and its operating company, 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
I'm excited to be joined by my friend Jill Kreider. She is the president of Azura Memory Care and Assisted Living. Tell me kind of about the mission of Azura.
Our mission is to transform the culture of care, have a secure place, live a quality of life that maybe they don't have currently.
When I'm at an Azura facility, it feels like home.
Having team members that really care about people is number one.
Thank you for what you do for our community. Thank you for what you do for the people that live in the community.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
Don't you wish your life came with a warning app?
Stop. That dog does not want to be petted.
Just a little heads up before something bad happens.
Move your coffee cup away from your computer.
Oh, no.
So you can have more control.
Stop. You're texting your boss by mistake.
Uh-oh. Well, life doesn't always give you time to change the outcome, but prediabetes does. With early diagnosis and a few healthy changes like managing your weight, getting active, stopping smoking, and eating healthier, you can stop prediabetes before it leads to type 2 diabetes. It's easy to learn your risk. Take the 1-minute test today at doihaveprediabetes.org.
Warning. The cap is loose on that ketchup.
Ugh. Don't wait. You have the power to change the outcome. Visit doihaveprediabetes.org today. That's doihaveprediabetes.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and its prediabetes awareness partners.
Truth Nation, get ready to celebrate excellence, passion, and the power of community as we host our first annual Truth Community Awards on Friday, February 28th at Potawatomi Casino and Hotel. This will be a Truth family party where we will celebrate the unsung heroes of our community and we roll out the red carpet for those making a positive impact every day. Tickets are selling fast, so go to 1017thetruth.com today to make sure you do not miss out on the biggest celebration in Milwaukee. Tickets are only $25 and includes free food, free drinks, and free Truth giveaways. Don't miss an evening filled with entertainment, heartfelt stories, and celebrating our city with the 1017 The Truth team. Visit 1017thetruth.com right now to buy your tickets to our Truth Community Awards. That is 1017thetruth.com to secure your spot for a night of celebrating the excellence of our community. The Truth Community Awards is presented by Potawatomi Casino and Hotel and brought to you by the award-winning 1017 The Truth.
This is Associated Bank Sports Update on 1017 The Truth is powered by ESPN Milwaukee. I'm Brandon Sneim. The Milwaukee Bucks secured their 5th straight home win last night over Philadelphia 76ers. This one by a final score of 123-109.
Dame at the top of the arc, flicks the pass to Middleton, right back to Lillard in the corner, and he strokes another good-looking shot. Three-pointer goes down for Damian Lillard, who in this fourth quarter has ignited.
Lillard scored 16 of his 25 points in that final quarter. Then the Bucks go on to win to improve to a record of 24-17. Next up, they'll face New Orleans on Wednesday. Over to college hoops for the UWM Panthers fell just short of Robert Mortis, 81-79. The loss dropping UWM to a record of 13-8. And lastly, to the NFL, where the Bills beat the Ravens 27-25 in the AFC divisional round. They'll face KC in the championship round next week. And the Eagles topping the Rams 28-22. They'll face Washington in the NFC Championship game next Sunday. The sports update brought to you by Associated Bank, proudly supporting your hometown teams. Member FDIC.
This is Truth to Power on 1017 The Truth app, and streaming live on 1017 The Truth on YouTube.
Go. I ain't never ran from a. No, I ain't never. If I did, cut my legs out right now. I ain't never been with the talk, snitch talk, always talking about his fault. Yeah, I'm a stand up.
Before we get back into it, I got to tell you about Gruber Law Offices. One call, that's all. Gruber Law Offices. Listen, if you or a loved one is ever injured in an accident, y'all know where to go, right? You see the billboards, you see them at games, you know their name. It is not just about their great marketing that they do. It's about the great results that they get. I myself had to call Gruber Law Offices, and they took good care of me. So if you or a loved one is ever injured in an accident, don't fight the insurance companies on your own. Get with the winning team at Gruber Law Offices by calling them today at 414-276-6666. That's 414-276-6666, or visit them at gruber-law.com. Remember, it's one call, that's all, with Gruber Law Offices. This is Truth to Power on the award-winning 1017 The Truth. I am Kyle Wallace. I'm taking you here on a journey as we have been discussing the weaponization of MLK Day against black people. Yes, the weaponization of MLK Day against our own people. 833-212-1017. That is the Truth Talk, the text line. If you have any thoughts or comments, definitely hit that up. Also, I see y'all in the YouTube chat. Make sure y'all watch and stream live on YouTube. That's 1017 The Truth on YouTube. I'm going to definitely get to some of y'all comments, but make sure y'all join that great group conversation that we are having. Again, 833-212-1017. That is the Truth Talk to text line as we talk about the diminishing of the legacy of Dr. MLK. And White Widow, what up? You on Truth to Power with Kyle Wallace. What are your thoughts on this conversation?
Hey.
Welcome.
Hey, nice to talk to you, Mr. Wallace. Nice to meet you.
Yeah.
Meet you.
Yes, absolutely.
Weaponization, how about the disrespect? I mean, I'm saddened by the fact that the inauguration is today. This is a federal holiday. And it's, would they have had it on Easter? Would they have had it on the 4th of July? So this is just indicative of things to come. It's the white power. I don't care who's in Washington, you know, the white right, the mighty white. And let's not forget, MLK, I was around. I sat in front of that TV with my mom. We cried after John F. K., Malcolm X, MLK. My little girlfriends and I got together a week later and tried to have a seance to bring them back. But the fact of the matter is he didn't talk about only I have a dream. Yeah, he had a dream about the blacks in America living a nightmare, and it's still happening. Last week on Tori's show, because I've been out here for 4 years on the streets, I'm saying, hey, man, blacks are not being hired. And you got some other people on the radio saying they don't want to work. Thank God last week, staffing services sister called and said, no, you don't know. Employers are specifically asking for illegal people, the staffing, the hiring. Go to any occupation in Milwaukee, social workers that are hired, the eye care, community care, my choice. I can't find a black social worker, and I got 13 business cards from these people.
I'll say this: there are black social workers out there, but I do agree. Overall, we definitely need to make sure that we're focusing on hiring as many African Americans as possible. But White Widow, you do have to understand what you're talking about, though. It's diversity, equity, inclusion, and with the new administration coming in, we'll have a lot of time to talk about the death of DEI and no longer wanting to have that diversity. But overall, when we think about the legacy, and thank you so much for White Widow for joining us. But yeah, she hit on one thing. Is I think she talked about the I have a dream. And I think the I Have a Dream speech has truly been the one that people focus on. They truly don't focus on anything else, right? They talk about the four children coming together, little white boys and little white girls and black boys can all come together. And that's what people focus on. They focus on that part, but they don't focus on the other things that he talked about, right? Dr. Martin Luther King not only fought for civil rights, he also fought for uplifting those who are poor. He also fought for economic equality as well. But as I continue the conversation talking about the diminishing of MLK Day, I also want to talk about some solutions. But also a fun little fact and a nugget you may not know. Zach, you know what else today is? You know we celebrate MLK Day. You know what else today is?
No.
It's Robert E. Lee Day.
I don't know who that is.
Oh, you don't know who Robert E. Lee is, huh? So, have you ever heard of the Civil War?
Apparently.
And now the Civil War, there was two sides, right?
Apparently.
And so what was the winning side, the good side, I guess? Not the Yankees, I guess that's way before them. But what was the good side?
The North?
The North, yeah, the Union, the North. That was the side that was fighting, quote unquote, to free slaves. Now, if Robert E. Lee was from the Union, what would you say? Would you say, okay, what would you say?
He's pretty decent.
He's pretty decent. Yeah, me too. I would say, Abraham Lincoln from the Union, probably a decent guy. Now, the other side, you know what that army was called? It was called the Confederate Army. Now, the Confederate Army, they fought for the South. Now, you know where they were fighting for, Zach, back in the 1800s? Yeah, there it is. I like that. Yeah, they was fighting for it. Hit that one again. They were fighting for a lot of that. They said they were fighting for the way of their life, but the way of their life was a whole bunch of that noise that Zach just had. That was my people, my ancestors having that. So that's what they were fighting for. Now, if I told you, Robert,
hush up, boy.
Yeah, yep, that's exactly what the South was saying. If I told you Robert E. Lee was a Confederate general, do you think he'd be a good person still, Zach?
Oh, no.
Well, in the state of Mississippi, they do. Mississippi and Alabama, not only today are they celebrating MLK Day, they are also celebrating Robert E. Lee Day. Yes, Robert E. Lee Day is a real holiday.
Hell no.
Yeah, it's a real holiday, Zach. It is a real holiday down in Alabama and Mississippi. Now, there's other states in the South that used to celebrate this day, but they ended up getting rid of it because they actually had a moral compass. Unlike Alabama and Mississippi, where they have celebrated MLK Day with Robert E. Lee Day. Yes, the Confederate general that fought to make sure that people like Dr. Martin Luther King would never have a say. They get to celebrate a holiday together. So we get to look at, the two opposite sides of things. You get to look at the thing of a civil rights leader who was fighting for people to have freedom. And then you get to look at the Confederate leader who was fighting to make sure people were still enslaved. It's crazy what they do down in the South. Now, I told y'all before, I was going to give y'all solutions because I truly do believe that the legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King has been absolutely diminished based off the fact that they now weaponize it against us and they now only talk about I have a dream. They don't talk about all the other things that Dr. Martin Luther King did. And so on a day like today, where a lot of my office upstairs here at the Great Good Karma Brands, it's empty because we're observing the holiday of Dr. Martin Luther King. That's fantastic. That's great. And I remember as a kid, I was upset when I had to go to school on MLK Day. I said, what is this? This is MLK Day. I shouldn't be at school. Well, little did I know, when I got older, I would think we probably need to change that. See, for me, to make Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s legacy relevant again, powerful again, impactful again, we need to start educating people again. So this is what the solution is for me to make sure that the legacy of MLK is not diminished. We need to get people back to work. We need to get students back to school. We need to stop showing the I Have a Dream speech all the time. We need to change the textbooks that only talk about the things they want to talk about. And we need to highlight who he was murdered by and why he was murdered. See, once we actually, re-educate people and make people come to work and make people learn more about the fact that this day is not about you having a vacation day. This day ain't about you going to some event feeling good about yourself. This day is not about you telling your kids that Dr. Martin Luther King was a civil rights leader that fought for, the freedom of people. But meanwhile, when you talk to your kid probably have no friends of color, no black friends. You're telling your kid these stories as they live in these suburbs where you have no black neighbors. You go to your parties on the weekend where you hang out with no black friends. But you sit here and you try to talk about MLK. So that's my solution. I believe the solution to make this day more relevant is bringing their asses back to work. Put them kids back into school. Don't give them the day off because it's a waste. It's a waste. All these kids doing right now is they on TikTok. That's what they doing. They on TikTok right now, or they on Fortnite playing video games. They don't give a dang about Dr. Martin Luther King. It's just another day off. That's all it is. That's all it is. So if we ain't going to really educate our youth about what the heck is going on, we might as well put them back in school and dedicate today to them doing community service and dedicate the day of them learning about MLK all day. Yep, make it MLK Day, the day you learn about MLK, and make them take a quiz about it. And I don't want all the good stuff. I want the stuff that talks about him rebelling. I want the stuff where he pushed back. I want the stuff where they were on the bridge, where they were abused. I want the stuff that talks about him being locked up. And I want the stuff that talks about him getting murdered for speaking out. I want them to talk about how they grandparents, or some people's parents, were anti-Dr. Martin Luther King. I think we got to understand is that when you look back to the 1960s, we now think of Dr. Martin Luther King legacy being this great legacy, but he had a 75% disapproval rating. Yes, he had a 75% disapproval rating at the time close to his death. So we need to talk about that this country has not grown whatsoever, because when you are able to say, oh, I like Dr. Martin Luther King, it gives people this false belief that our country is moving forward. When certain people say, oh, I want to use his legacy to try to justify my hate, his legacy is diminished. And so what I'm saying today is that we need to shift the focus on people having a free vacation day to put their feet up, relax, and do nothing, and make it a true day of service. Make it a true day of work. Make it a true day of education. Make it a true day where people understand, when you hear the rhetoric from DEI trying to cancel DEI, how dangerous that is. When you hear the rhetoric of people saying, oh, black people are racist against other people, we need to talk about how dangerous that is. So on a day like today where Trump is being inaugurated, and it is what it is, I'm not going to sit here and talk about it because he won the election. You got to move on. He's going to be the president for the next 4 years, whether you like it or not, unless something terrible happens. But he's going to be the president, and I hope it does not. He's going to be the president for the next 4 years. So I'm not going to talk about that today. I'm going to talk about the things that matters to us, and the legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King should always matter to us. 833-212-1017. I see y'all text. I also see y'all in the YouTube chat. If you have any comments, if you believe the legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King has been diminished, call in today, because I want to hear from you. If you think I'm just blowing smoke, I'm being a hater, I'm trying to take away from the day, I also want to hear from you. 833-212-1017. That is the Truth Talk to text line. This is Truth to Power with Kyle Wallace on the award-winning 1017 The Truth. We'll have so much more on the other side.
More of Truth to Power is next on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Join the YMCA of Metropolitan Milwaukee on January 20th for the 28th annual Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. celebration at Potawatomi Casino and Hotel starting at 8 a.m. Come together as a community to reflect on Dr. King's powerful legacy, celebrate the creativity of our youth, and be inspired by moving performances and speakers. This will be a day of inspiration, connection, and service, one you won't want to miss. For more information, visit ymcamke.org/MLK. Can't wait to see you there.
It's 1017 The Truth's Dr. Ken Harris for Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. Happy New Year means a lot of rough days ahead for those who suffer from seasonal affective disorder. Plenty of gray, frigid days on the horizon where we all just want to be snuggly and warm at home. That's where Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin comes in. Their inviting doors welcome friends and family into a cozy home thanks to Pella's gorgeous, energy-efficient windows, keeping the cold out. Pella can make your home as beautiful on the outside as it is comfortable on the inside. Celebrate the new year with 0% interest for up to 3 years at Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. Visit Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin showroom today so you can learn the Pella difference and get inspired on making your home more energy efficient and beautiful with Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. Hurry, you only have until January 31st to score Pella's New Year's special. 0% interest for up to 3 years. Certain restrictions apply. Visit PellaWI.com.
Associated Bank knows your small business isn't just a venture. It's your dream and a vital part of the community. And we're not just a bank. We're your neighbors. We're looking out for you. That's why Associated Bank offers quick online applications and approvals with funding in as fast as 1 business day, checking with no minimum balances or maintenance fees, and prompt customer service. Explore our products at associatedbank.com/business or visit a branch for more details. Subject to credit approval. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Join the roar of 18,000 Bucks fans at Fiserv Forum and be a part of the slam dunks, game-changing plays, and electrifying victories live. Witness the edge-of-your-seat action and unforgettable moments as they happen. You don't want to miss this. Grab your calendar, handpick your favorite matchups, and secure your seats for Dame time in Milwaukee and every incredible moment that comes next at bucks.com/tickets. That's bucks.com/tickets.
You are listening to Truth to Power on 1017 The Truth app, and streaming live on 1017 The Truth on YouTube.
Now, it's just been over a year since a protest over the lack of transparency of voting in the 2020 election turned violent on January 6th in our nation's capital. Now, of the tens of thousands of those who were there to protest, the number of those who actually crossed the line of peaceful protest into criminal trespass, vandalism, or assault of a police officer was a very tiny little fraction, maybe at best in the hundreds.
That right there is Arkansas Governor Mike Huckabee, the same man that was saying Dr. Martin Luther King would be appalled by the protests, was sitting there trying to minimize the only a couple hundreds of people who went to January 6th. A couple of hundred people that pooped. Literally, they pooped inside the Capitol. A police officer was murdered. He wasn't murdered. He had a heart attack, and I believe, or a stroke, ended up dying. But they attacked the nation's capital. But do we see what they do when the face looks like his? He tries to minimize it. But when black people were fighting, and black and white people, everybody, this ain't just a black thing. When people on the right side of history were fighting for justice, when they were fighting for coming together, getting behind a common cause, he invoked Dr. Martin Luther King. It's crazy. 833-212-1017. We're talking about the legacy of MLK. Has it been diminished? Has it been weaponized to be used against us? Lana Banana, keep it clean, but you are on the award-winning 1017 The Truth. What are your comments?
Yeah, it's going to be clean. How you doing? Congratulations, Kyle.
Thank you, ma'am. I thank you so much. I just want to make sure you know what I'm saying. I know this is a fiery conversation, so I want to make sure we good, Miss Lana Banana, but I'm doing blessed, and I hope you're doing well.
Yeah, Lana Banana going to always keep it classy and clean. Watch. Okay. Yeah, so it's funny how, like, every time black people, we do something positive to uplift each other and ourselves, it's weaponized. You know what I'm saying? Anything to help us is always weaponized. But for them, the white people, they'll talk about like the positive aspects of a certain person or whatever, but then when it comes to black people, they're always talking about the negativity. And the thing is that with black people, we can't get distracted, and we can't let the names or the negative rhetoric that they talk about us to influence us in any kind of way. We got to stay focused.
Yes,
and, okay, they can name call us, but that's not what we got. So we got to stay focused and focus on us, love us, teach us, and be us.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much, Miss Lana Banana. And I agree. We definitely got to focus on us. We really do. And we have to focus on also coming together as a people, right? Not just us, but everybody, right? They call themselves allies, and I agree. I'm a big fan of allyship because I think it's important because it takes all of us to come together to move forward and move things in the direction we need to go. The Town, you're on the award-winning 1017 The Truth. What's happening in the Town? Thanks for calling in The Truth to Power. The Town once, twice. Call back in The Town. Brian. Brian hung up on Brian. That's all right. 833-212-1017. Y'all know I'm new with these phones here. I ain't really, I know how to get people on and off. But Brian, I'm so sorry. Give a call back, Brian. My apologies for hanging up on you there. But I think they make a great point. But one thing that Carlos said in the talking text line, because I had this also happen. He said, where do we start? I had a customer that states that she has no clue of when MLK birthday is. She's a 73-year-old black woman. Yes, a 73-year-old black woman has no idea when his birthday is because the legacy has been diminished. Thanks for calling back, Brian. You're on Truth to Power on the award-winning 1017 The Truth. What are your thoughts and comments on this?
My thoughts are a lot of folks look at Martin Luther King as a pacifist and what have you, and that's why it's been diminished because a lot of our young people have basically looked at him as a pacifist. But I'd have to push back on that. We need to have the kids back in school and let them understand that Martin Luther King was probably about as brave as a Nat Turner was, because to have the establishment on your back to have the establishment on your back to keep black folks quiet and not, tearing stuff up, when at the same time you got those same establishment people with a gun to your head telling you better do certain things, that takes a supreme amount of bravery.
Yes, it does.
Supreme amount of bravery.
Thank you, Brian.
And we need to also go into the aspects of the documentaries that were done by Steve Coakley on Martin Luther King. Those documentaries.
Not quite sure what happened, but that's all right. But he's absolutely right. And the one thing we have to understand is that Dr. Martin Luther King walked through life understanding that he was not in control of his destiny. And as a man of God and a man of faith, as the reverend he was, to know that your time was going to be coming one day, and it was not going to be 100% dictated on the Lord. It was going to be dictated on when the U.S. government and the people in power and the FBI were ready to take you out. And as soon as Dr. Martin Luther King decided that he was going to turn his message, speak up about the injustices that we have with inequality, with wealth, freedom, is when they decided to take him out. But I just want to say thank y'all so much for joining me here today on Truth to Power. I am Kyle Wallace, and I appreciate y'all joining me for my first show. I will be doing this every single weekday from noon until 1. And as I close out show number 1, I just want y'all to know the fight still lives on, and we shall continue to overcome the struggles and the obstacles as a community and a nation that we face. This has been Truth to Power, the award-winning 1017 The Truth. I'm going to let James Brown take us out because you know what? We got to get up and dance to that funky soul or move that funky soul, but have a great rest of your day. Tori Lowe is coming up next.
Here at the new 1017 The Truth, we aim to be a staple in Milwaukee's Black community. We are committed to partnering with local organizations and supporting Black-owned businesses. We are proud to call Milwaukee our city and promise to be a positive reflection of our community. We look forward to celebrating Black culture and excellence with you every day as we make history and continue to uplift the voices in our city. Join us for the journey at the new 1017 The Truth, founded by Gruber Law Offices, Milwaukee Black Talk.
It's Dr. Ken Harris, and you can watch me now live on YouTube every weekday from 4 to 6 p.m., and you can watch the best radio show in Wisconsin by going to 1017 The Truth on YouTube. Watch me explore the issues which are shaping our community while also having fun discussions, pop culture, current events, all kind of stuff going on right here on YouTube right now by subscribing to 1017 The Truth. Milwaukee Black Talk is now streaming live